Brother Kadash, giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. This one I'm going to just name it, title it Yasharahla, because that's the spirit that I've been thinking. The spirit I've been in is thinking about, just the whole state of our people, with everything that's been going on, the economy, and all the distractions, right? Like, even with the election and all that shit that's going on, it's just with that every 4 years, but I'll say, like, every year it's just more and more just bullshit distractions. You see what I'm saying? Our people get tied into so many things, and then you see the prophets of the Lord, individual lights in the different camps that be out there, teaching the truth every year. So, like, I've been in the truth since the end of 2017, so really about 7 years. Not all of that time was I on the highways and byways. Maybe 5 years of that on the highways and byways in the first 2 years. So when I came into the truth, I was trucking. So it was really hard for me to go out on the highways and byways, because I was, not only was I in the trucking industry, I was over the road. So OTR in trucking, meaning that you going from state to state, you really going all over the country. So I was all in Cali, all in Texas, all in New York, back and forth, everywhere. You see what I'm saying? But I had came across the truth by watching YouTube videos. You see what I'm saying? And then from there, there's a period of time that you learn, and what is this is new, what is all this going on. And then I started off listening to some other people that had the name a different way. Then I finally came into what I'm in now, which, our Lord is Yahweh Bahashem, and then Yahweh Shai in the name of his son. Yahweh Shai is the Savior, he's the Messiah, the Most High is Yahweh. But even with that, man, like, I'm telling you, like, me in the truth, I'm the type of guy that I watch videos, because remember, I was a truck driver. So to pass my time, I may drive for 11 hours straight. You see what I'm saying? So to pass that time, all I did was watch YouTube videos on the truth. I'm talking about 11 hours a day. Every day I'm watching YouTube videos. Even now, like, that's all I do. Like, that's what I turn on. I get home, I chill, I get on YouTube. What pops up on my news feed is probably a Hebrew Israelite camps out there teaching or whatever, or probably some debate or something like that. I catch it. So I done heard all the arguments for all different types of perspectives of what this truth is. I done seen it. I done seen the hypocrites. I done seen, and I'm talking about, like, even with all camps, I done seen them be hypocrites. I done seen them say this or make something a law that's not a law, that's not in the Bible. I done seen that, right? And I done seen the different perspectives on different things, and I done seen it for years, bro. And I done heard all the arguments. I know all the arguments vocab alone the Christians gonna make. I know all the arguments Muslims gonna make, the Hebrew Israelites. I done seen it, man. And it just go on and on and on. Now, I only been in the truth for 7 years. You got men that been in the truth 20, 30 years, you see what I'm saying? But it's like, at some point in time, like, and this has been the spirit I've been on, at some point in time, it's just the spirit that I've been searching, right? And I ain't saying I'm perfect, but I've been searching the answer to this. Like, the spirit been pulling to me that we have to do more. Like, this truth, almost to me, it seemed like, to me, for other people, that it's became like a game to them, or a gang to them, you see what I'm saying, or a team. And it just don't seem like we necessarily getting nowhere. I done seen elders say every year, this year could be the last year, the next 6 months could be it. I done seen them do that since I got in the truth for 7 years. And every year it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. So I feel like, and really reading Exodus, with pretty much Moses' whole story, got me in that spirit. Because when I look at those Israelites during that time, it was actions that were being done, not just teaching. I'm teaching. I know anybody could, and I'd have seen it, and so I could say this. I'd have seen brothers come in the truth and just pick up a Bible and go out and teach, right? Because they want to be a part of something. That don't mean, as far as the full nation, we know that only the elect could be saved. But it's just something been pulling on my spirit. I'm just being honest. I'm just being an open book. Something been pulling on my spirit that we have to do more, and that's what kind of turned me off a lot on this. It's all I see is the man worshiping, coats. It's 100% coats in this truth of ours, right? But even with that, I still believe the truth is with us. But part of me feel like what evolves, what this little thing of ours that we got, I believe it's going to evolve. Something else is going to evolve out of it, and it's going to evolve to something else that is the path of the truth. Not necessarily everything that we got on. I'm talking about just all us that call ourselves Hebrew Israelites that call on that name. I don't think that's just the truth. We all in the truth. No, I feel like some of us got parts of the truth, but I feel like something's going to evolve out of that. That's going to be okay. That's it right there. Because when you look at Moses, and this is why I'm saying that, during the time of Moses, the children of Israel came together and left out of Egypt. It wasn't we fragment into, man, it's 1,000 camps out there. I done heard them all, and I heard all their different perspectives and their differences and their arguments for that. I mean, I could just go through the list. I done heard some say, the new moon was when the moon is fully bright. I done heard some say the new moon is when the moon is fully dark, and I done heard their arguments for that. I done heard camps argue about garments, t-shirt garments, and I heard other camps say, well, Yahushua is the perfect example. He wear the garment down to the feet, so we should wear one because Yahushua did it. We ain't seen none of them wear. I done heard the arguments, but then I done heard the argument on the other end where ain't no law that say you can't wear a t-shirt with fringes on. You see what I'm saying? I done heard that. So and I done heard argument, are we in the new covenant? Or well, no, we not in the new covenant. Or we in grace. I done heard the arguments for both sides on every single topic you could think about, bro. Every virgin birth, every single topic you could think about. So what that pushed me to, just studying, being a scholar that I am, and studying and hearing out and being open to hear it out other sides and points, that pushed me to a point where I'm like, if it's not in the law, right, which the Bible clearly states, if it's not law, then it's not a sin. Like, if there's no law against it, then there is no sin. So if a man do something and there's not a law against what he's doing, then I have no place even speaking about it. He's a grown man. He's the king of his household, right? So I can't speak about something on my opinion if there's no law against it. And I feel like if we stick to that, that's our bread and butter right there. But you see a lot of guys that come, they get power, and then they start to make up rules and live in a way, right? Which you could do that, but the problem is when you try to make it a doctrine and force it on other people. Just like with another camp, a man can't have multiple wives. A real man don't have multiple wives. You feel that way, that's cool, but now you're trying to make it a doctrine. Now you're trying to condemn brothers that do. And then that's the problem, because you know damn well there's no law that say a man cannot have multiple wives. And this is the argument and the problem that we have when we go on from the Old Testament, New Testament. Guys run to the New Testament, right? And then they'll go to Paul's writings, and then they make up a doctrine. They say, well, Paul said this, or this was said during this time, and then they make up and say, well, we have to follow that because of that. My argument would be, okay, cool. If you're saying that a bishop, because it don't say that a bishop only can have one wife. It says the bishop must be a husband of one wife. Now, you can insert the word only, or you also could insert the word at least. When you do a little research, it gives you a reason. It says he has to be the husband of one wife, because it showed that, if he was able to lead a family, a woman, children, a family unit, it's just better qualify him for that office of being a bishop, of a leader. But guys take it and say, well, it means only. But it don't. Because if we go from there and we say, okay, cool, that's your position, go to the law. Show me in the law where it says a bishop can only have one wife. They can't do it. You see what I'm saying? So as long as you go off that, what do it say in the law? That's it. That's all. And then even when you go to the law, they got scriptures where it says, I think that's Leviticus 19, where they read into the text that is saying that you can't have a hairline. And we did a lesson on this because I studied it. I looked into it. It never once said that you cannot have a hair lining, right? But they say that and say, well, you guys that got hair linings, you wicked. That's not what it says. It clearly tells you, well, I will have to read it because I don't want to mess up what it says. But breaking it down, it's saying that you can't have a certain hairstyle that I believe the Ishmaelites had. They had this certain hairstyle, which they still have to this day, to worship their God. right? And it was like a bold type hairstyle. Pretty much what we broke it down to is like a bald fade, right? Because they would cut the edges off, right, and leave it bald. And the hair that was still on their head from an aerial view, it looked like a circle, which is kind of like a bald fade, right? To worship their God. So when you look that up, if you just look up what that scripture means, you look up some images, it's going to show you Ishmaelites with that bald fade. Think of the movie Superfly, right? And the main guy, Priest, the haircut he had the slick, right? The slick hair looked like he got a perm, and then he had it bald faded around all around, from the edges all the way to the back, the corners. That's what it's talking about. Where did he get that hairstyle from? Why did he silk his hair like that? Because that's how the Ishmaelites' hair be. So that's clearly what it was talking about, and I realized, like, damn, bro, like, it don't say nothing about a man can't have a hairline. Here I am, 7 years in the truth, running around not getting my goddamn hairline because I'm running off what a man told me rather than researching it myself and getting the actual truth. You see what I'm saying? So that's the difference, and that's where I've been at. But back to the point, right? This is John 5:46 through 47. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? So even Yahushua was like, look, if you don't believe Moses' writings, how can you believe me? Because they went together. They was on the same page, which is the Father's page, Yahweh. So now going to Yahushua time, what did you see them doing? So this is what confused me, because, like, I don't want to do the 1 foot in, 1 foot out shit. If I'm going to risk my life, my family's life for this, right? My children last name is Yasharahla. I named them after this. This is what it is for life for me. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm going to put my everything in this, then we got to be all the way in, man. And if you're not all the way in, then it's just, at that point, it's like, okay, puts you at a disadvantage because you can't really do much as an individual. But this is the thing, though. Yahushua, were they all the way in? What were they doing? Yahushua's like, leave your job, leave your work, leave what you doing, and come be in this truth. Come follow me. He was like, I'm going to make you a fisherman of men. You see what I'm saying? So when he was going around in the beginning and he was rounding up the disciples, he was telling them to leave what they was doing, their professions, and come into the truth. You don't see that today with us. You see us still having jobs and careers and businesses, and then we you know, when we get home, we'll make a video, or, you know, we'll slacking, right? So, you know, what were they doing? You know, from what I read, he was telling them, hey, you got to leave what you're doing and come be in this truth. Like I said, you will see us, when we get time, we'll make a video. Then on the weekends, we'll go out on the highways and byways and teach. You see what I'm saying? No, that's not the message that Yahushua was giving. I think it's Acts 2 or Acts 3. You have to go read through it. But it said the apostles' doctrine. What was the apostles of that time doctrine that they directly got from Yahushua himself? Their doctrine was, leave everything you doing, right? And matter of fact, I'm finna have to pull it up. Hold that, and I'm gonna pull that one up, because that's a great one. I love that one, right? This is John 5:45 MSG. It just break it down a little bit more. It says, but don't think that I'm going to accuse you before my Father. Moses, in who you put so much stock, is your accuser. If you believe, really believe, right, what Moses said. So if you really believe what Moses said, right, you will believe me. So if you believe and you really believe what Moses said, then you believe me. He said he wrote of me. If you won't take serious what he wrote, how could I expect you to take serious what I speak? That's what Yahushua was saying, man. Say, if you ain't gonna take serious what Moses wrote, right? How can I, you know, think that you're gonna take me serious, right? Now let's get another translation. I thought the NIV would be on here. Okay, NIV. If you believe Moses, you will believe me, for he wrote about me. But since you don't believe what he wrote, how are you going to believe what I say? So you can't, and my reason for that scripture, right, which is cold, right, if you really look into it, it's this deep what I'm doing, right, is these guys that run to the New Testament make up a doctrine. You only could really do it with the New Testament. And then I gave you an example of how they try to do it here and there with the Old Testament. But these guys that do that, right, and run to the New Testament and make up a whole doctrine, like just like with the multiple lies thing. But you don't see it in the law. You see what I'm saying? Then they go out and then they say, well, we the real prophets. And then you say, okay, we the real speakers of the Lord. Okay, and then you say, they say we teach the law of the Lord. And we say, okay, you teach the law of the Lord, right? That's what you're teaching, right? They say, yeah, we follow the law, we teach the law. And then when you start looking to some of the things that they're saying they're teaching, you say, okay, where's that part in the law? Then they run to a part that's not the law of Moses, and then they say it's right here. Hold up, buddy. I thought you was a teacher of the law. You can't add to it or take away from it. You see what I'm saying? You can't add to it or take away from it. So if you can't run somewhere to the New Testament and make that contradict the law. Right? Because Yahushua is saying, look, but if you do not believe his writings, how will you believe my words? He pretty much saying, look, me and Moses, we on the same accord, man. Me and Moses, we on the same accord. He wrote of me. I'm fulfilling those prophecies, and the rest of his writings, that's what I'm with. We on the same accord. So don't try to put me and Moses together. Well, Moses' law said this, but then Yahushua said this. No, you got a misunderstanding what Yahushua said if it's contradicting what Moses said. Because they're on the same accord, bro. Then they go to stuff that says, well, Moses said this, Moses said that. Yahushua is still saying the same thing. He's still saying you got to keep these laws. At the end of the day, he still said, because Matthew 5, not one jot, not one tittle shall pass from the law till all is fulfilled. Right? But just like with Apostle Paul, Apostle Paul mixed up too. Because yes, with Apostle Paul, he was doing things in a certain way. It's just like me, right? Like if I go into the mall and I run into 5 brothers, you see what I'm saying? I'm not finna tell them right now, hey, right now, you know what I mean? You gotta grow a beard out right now, bro. Or, you know, depending on what you look at in the law. You can't do this, you can't do that. You gotta stop doing this right now. No, I'm gonna tell them. You gotta work your way into it, bro. You can't just go cold turkey on everything and then tomorrow you a righteous man. You a just man tomorrow. That's not how it worked. That's not realistic. It didn't work that way even for me, man. It's a process. So you might get them a little bit of the law. Hey, brother, keep this dietary law. You ain't gonna get them the whole dietary law because you got to sit there and break it all down if you're gonna get them the whole. But you might get them parts of it. Hey, brother, stop eating pork. Stop eating shrimp. You know what I mean? Then the brothers grow in the truth. Hey, bro, I ain't been eating pork. I ain't been eating shrimp or nothing like that. But I'm still eating I'm eating snake or I'm eating catfish still. Then you be like, hey, you know, you ain't supposed to be eating catfish either. Then man, where's this law at? Go into Leviticus. You can break it down. Well, I'm not eating catfish no more. But, you know, I like my steak with blood in it. Then you go to Leviticus. Then you go back into Leviticus. I think Leviticus 11. One of those. And then you break it down. Hey, bro, you're not supposed to eat the blood because the blood is the life. You break it down. And that's all Paul was doing. He never was saying at certain points. But you got to remember, there was an evolution of Paul. You seen Paul grow in the truth. Apostle Paul. So at certain points, he was saying certain things, and those things got changed. And at certain points, he was talking. It's about the context, where he was at, when, how, you know, all that plays a part. You can't just take it from your perspective today and take hundreds of years. Well, maybe he ain't live 100, but tens of years, and then just put it into your 5 minutes of reading it, or 30 minutes, however long, to read it. You see what I'm saying? You got to look at it at time. This things was year by year, his ministry, man. So you got to look at it. There was an evolution. There was a growth. You see what I'm saying? And why was he telling these people this? Pretty much like, if you go sit with sinners, it's the same thing Yahushua was doing. You're not just going to pour the whole thing on them right away. That's what he was talking about with Moses that we just read. And to be an accuser of them and condemn them right away, knowing they wicked. But you're going to try to teach them and help them grow out of that wickedness state and become a just man. That's all it is, man. People can't understand that. Simple, very simple, right? So let's keep going. So back to the topic, right? This is Acts 2. So we want to talk about doctrine and who's the leader and the bishop and the apostles and the general and all this, that, and this and that. And we want to talk about doctrine, right? So we going to see what the apostles' doctrine was that directly learned their doctrine under Yahushua himself, right? So this is Acts 2. I love this one right here, right? Let me see where I want to get it from. 41. Then they that gladly received his word were baptized, and the same day were added into them about 3,000 souls. What camp got 3,000 members in one day? You got camps that got 3,000 members, true, but which one had 3,000 members added in one day? Stop acting like we greater than the apostles, or we know more than them, we greater than them. We could change this and change that, because we the leaders now. No, we not on those guys' level, and I just told you why we're not nowhere near close to none of those guys' level. Is because they live this every day. They left everything they was doing to do this. Most of us is not doing that. We still got lives in America. Equivalent to what they was doing, they lived in communities, which is what I'm about to get to. So it did make it a little easier, but equivalent to what they was doing was like you leaving your job right now. Which you got brothers that are fully in the truth, but they get paid off the truth, so they don't have to have a job, right? We get that, we understand that. But not most people. So that's equivalent to you, the average Joe in the truth, leaving your job right now just to fully be in this truth. And that's all you do from the day you wake up, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. Every day for years. Probably won't survive, right? Because you got to go make a living to take care of your family, to pay your bills. Right? But if we all did it together as a community, which is the point of this video, then it would make it easier for. So if I just quit my job and I quit my career and I quit everything right now, and I just, from this truth, from the day I wake up, from the time I wake up, time I go to sleep, I'm not gonna last, because I'm not gonna be able to pay my bills, I'm not gonna be able to feed myself or take care of my family, because that's just me. But if we all do it as a group, hundreds of thousands of us that's in the truth, then it makes it easier, because we dare to depend on each other. You see what I'm saying? If you go out and move out into the desert and try to start a city by yourself, it's going to fail. But if you got 1 million people that move out into the desert and start a city with you, that's different. That's the point, right? So let's keep going. Right? And they, verse 42, and they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in breaking of bread and prayer. So this is it said they continue steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship. So this is the apostles' doctrine, since we all be caught up on doctrine so much. So you tell me the camp that say that they doctrine is the number one way, the number one truth. Tell me the camp that's doing this. Because this the apostle doctrine. And fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles. So they was actually doing wonders and signs. Is your leader doing wonders and signs? Miracles? Or he just going out and teach, right? And then get brothers to join his group. Okay, and all that believed were together and had all things common. You got gigantic cults. What was the Nature Boy? He had many people joining his group. So just because you get people to join what you're doing don't mean nothing, man. But we put so much stock in that. Well, I got people joining my camp. I got people entering. I got people want to be a part of it. Nature Boy had people. You see what happened to him? It was another one, Rashid. I forgot his last name or something like that. But they all got locked up. Shit, Yahweh ben Yahweh. He had countrywide on this Hebrew Israelite stuff, people joining that. And you see what happened to it. So we can't just go off that. We got the truth because we got members and people wanting to join. Shit, Yahweh ben Yahweh had that. So he had the truth too? He got the truth? Right. So, and fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done by the apostles, and all that believed were together and had all things in common. You see that? All that believed were together and had all things in common. I don't think it's just saying we were together in spirit. No, they were together. That's community, right? And they would have to be together for the rest of what it's finna say to be true. So we got brothers out here in LA. We got brothers out here. No, we got to come together as a group, a body. Right, which has always been, even if you just look at so-called black people problem. You know, they did all these states, they split us up. This state got this law, this state got these laws, this state you could do this state you could do that. That's divide and conquer. But if all the black people in the United States moved to we probably wouldn't fit in one city, but let's just say we all moved down south to Georgia in the surrounding states, and we all were concentrated together in one spot. We'd be a problem then. We'd be a big problem, and that we would dominate those areas. Esau would have to show how wicked he is, because he would have to come up against us and just completely show his wickedness rather than just doing it behind the scenes and shit. That's what happened with Black Wall Street. So anytime we come together as a body, just like in Egypt, going back to Moses' time, we become a problem, man. Then they can't stop us. That's why doing slavery, what were they doing slavery, man? They was shipping family members over. They ship your mom over here, ship your dad over there, ship the kids over here. They'd take Native Americans, displace them, send them on Trail of Tears to the fucking Midwest, southern areas, Nevada and all that shit, and send them over there to Colorado. You know what I mean? Then they send these people. It was a transatlantic slave trade. Meaning that it wasn't just from Africa to America. You had Native Americans, you had Mexicans being shipped from different parts to separate, divide, and conquer. Because when we together in one spot as a body, then we a problem. It ain't nothing they could do with us. But when they split us up and send us here, send us there, then they got power over us. That's how they were able to conquer the Native Americans. When Esau, the U.S. Army, came over to America, right, they attacked one clan. If that one clan would have been unified with the rest of the clans, they could have came back and they all came together and destroyed Esau, because the Native Americans were winning battles. But Esau was just persistent. He'll lose and he'll come back again. Lose and come back again. Turn clans together. Wait till they war and then take out the weak one. You know, you weak after, you might win the war, but you might be weak because you lost a lot of members to win that war. Then they'll come take out what's left and then take that position. That's what Esau was doing. So when Esau came to America, he was able to conquer America because he was able to go basically from clan, tribe to tribe with Native Americans and just take them down one by one and just take more and more and more territory. But if they were unified together, ain't no way Esau would have took America. You see what I'm saying? Do it make sense? Now let's keep going. And all that believed were together and had all things common, and sold their possessions and goods and parted them to all men as every man had need. So you might say, well, man, KD, how are we going to teach the truth all over to get the elect if we all like move down south together in the Hebrew Israelite community and we all come together? How are we going to get the elect or not? Hey, that might be the elect. You surprised how many people believe this truth that'll go on a movement like that. That might be the elect. Just like during the time of Moses, the children of Israel left out. They had to come together, right? And they left out. But the elect, man, we got the internet. We got, even in the old times, you know, they were together, but they still were able to reach different parts. You had Apostle Paul, he was traveling different places. Well, he had to write letters to different places and travel different places. Yeah, ain't nobody saying you can't travel to this state, travel to that state, get members and stuff like that. But we need to be together in a community, man. Watch this. And sold all their possessions and good and parted them to all men as every man had need. How could they, if they was just together in spirit, but they wasn't together physically, how could they part to every man as every man needed during that time and sell all their possessions and good? And those possessions and good was, you know, under the control of the apostles. They were together in communities. I'm not saying they all lived in the exact same city, but in the exact same area. Close by, walking distance, horse distance. You see what I'm saying? And sold their possessions and goods and parted them to all men as every man had need. And they continuing daily with one accord in the temple and breaking bread from the house to house did eat their meat with gladness and singleness of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. The Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. Because this is what they going to say. Man, we already tried to do that. We did that with Black Wall Street. We already tried to have communities. Look what Esau has done to the communities. They always fail. But you want to know the big difference that they not pointed out? Black Wall Street wasn't a God-fearing city. Maybe they had some people that fear God, but I'm talking about with this truth that we got. That's the difference. Because when you read verse 47, if we did something like that, the Hebrew Israelites, the difference is we're going to have the Lord that's going to be there with us. Verse 47, praising God. That's the difference between Black Wall Street, just blacks coming together like Atlanta, Black Hollywood and coming together, and the Esau attacking it and destroying it. The difference from if we do it is the Lord's going to be there, and you got to believe that. So praising God and having favor with all people, the Lord added, it said the Lord added to the church daily such as should be saved. What does that sound like? Don't that sound like the time of Moses? The Israelites came together, went to the wilderness, right? And then guess what happened? The Lord added to them. He rained manna down from heaven. He protected them, provided them, gave them water, gave them direction, light, truth. The Lord was there for them. That's the difference. What's going to happen? Prophecy is that we're going to be led into the wilderness again. And the Lord's going to be there with us because he's going to purge out the rebels during that time. And the Lord's going to be there with us again to protect us when that happens. But guess what? We got this mindset of we got to wait for the Lord to do it. No, the Lord waiting for us. It told you that in Hosea 5:15. The Lord said he waiting for us. Let me get that. This Hosea 5:15, I get it to you in the NIV. Then I will return to my lair, and till they have borne their guilt and seek my face. In their misery they was earnestly seek me. Let's get it in the new King James. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offenses and seek my face. In their affliction they will seek me early. That's what the Lord said, man. So that put the time on us. That's why there ain't no time or date. No man knows the time or date but the Father. It put the time. It put the responsibility on us. Not just, hey, we could just keep doing what we doing and we just gonna wait for the Lord to come back and then the Lord's gonna, no, we gotta get ready. And then the Lord's gonna be there to help us add to us. That's why you got precepts like the kingdom is within you. It's telling us we gotta do this. We have to do this, man. And that's the spirit I've been on, because when I came into the truth, the spirit was we ain't doing nothing, we just doing this. And the Lord, whenever the time comes, that's gonna happen. But now my spirit been on, no, we have to make this happen for us. Then the Lord's going to be there for us, man. You looking at the fucking Ishmaelites, Saudi Arabia, they got a fucking kingdom over there. And you like, why are people can't just come together and just do that? They got unlimited wealth. Ain't no number you could put on it. Ain't no car they can't get. They building skyscrapers. They building bigger cities. It's like, why are people can't do it? What the hell is going on? But the responsibility on us. We ain't waiting on the Lord. The Lord waiting on us to get our act together. That's what they not telling you. Because they don't want to. It's just like during the time of Yasharahla with the wicked Pharisees and scribes. They don't want nothing to change. They lining their pockets off this truth. This truth has became a den of thieves. They want to keep it the way it is so they can keep making those dollars off their congregation. Hey, tell the men they can't have multiple wives because, women spend the most money. Most of our congregation is probably made up of women. So, we want to keep our women happy. And then we want to get new members. What's going to attract those women new members? Because really, these men follow the women today. Well, the women bring the money. The women also bring the man because the man going to go wherever the woman's at. So what's going to get people to come to our camp? We got to cater to the woman. Now, we know it's okay for men to have multiple wives, but let's just tell them that they can't have multiple wives right now. But Hosea 4:1, we going to have multiple wives in the kingdom, but they just can't do it right now. What law says that in 2024, you can't have multiple wives, but in the kingdom, you're going to be able to have multiple wives again? By the way, your whole nation only exists from a man that literally had multiple wives. That's the only reason why you're here. Your great grandfather leading back up to Jacob had multiple wives. That's why you're here. But now 2024, a year gonna come called 2024, the 2020s, the 20th century, the 19th century, and then during that time you can't have multiple wives during that time right there. But then all hell gonna break loose, and then you're gonna get multiple wives, and then that's gonna lead into the kingdom. What the fuck is going on, bro? And you got leaders saying this. Right? So I'm going to come back with a part 2. I got to run and do something. I'm going to come back with part 2. But the thing is, the Lord waiting for us. So the Spirit, just to wrap it all up, the Spirit been on me, feeling like we have to make this happen. That's why I say the kingdom is in you. We have to make this happen. And the Lord is going to be there to assist us, man. We got to come together like during the time of Egypt. I'm going to come back with part 2 and break that down even more.